The Mets have cruised in from the sweaty Midwestern climes of St. Louis and found themselves a tropical paradise as they make their way into Miami. At Marlins Park in Miami, Florida, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. The Marlins hanging around in the National League East race, and why not? Giancarlo Stanton having himself the best year of his young career. Marcell Ozuna's been a pretty good 1A, and Casey McGee is driving him home. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a 4-game series against the Marlins. The Marlins figured to be in a rebuilding mode this year, but because the National League East has been pretty underwhelming, the Marlins find themselves just a game and a half out of first place. And the most overwhelming reason why, well, they've got an MVP candidate in Giancarlo Stanton, who at age 24 has really started to put it all together.
Well, number one, he's stayed healthy. He's hitting .299, leading the National League in home runs with 20 and RBIs with 57. Now, what's more awesome about his career, I mean, is this season is that he's been hitting in the clutch, hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position. 19 of his RBIs are in the seventh inning on. 18 go-ahead RBIs that gave his club either the lead or go-ahead RBIs. 23 of those RBIs have tied also. He's just having an awesome year, the year that they expected from him.
Well, the Marlins, who were the worst offensive team in the league last year, third in runs scored in the National League this year. The Mets try to get their offense going. The one guy who's been hot for them has been Curtis Granderson, whose year got off to a poor start, but not anymore.
Well, Curtis, they've tried him at leadoff and second, and I like him in that lineup there, but with the club struggling offensively, it weakens that middle of the order. He has to be down that middle of the order. You see what he's been doing of late. If you want to even go back further, May 1st, he's been hitting, since May 1st, he's been hitting .281 with a .403 on-base percentage, and in the month of June so far, hitting .340. So he's been tearing it up, but the Mets got to find ways to win.
And the Mets tonight will be facing a first-time starter. One of the hottest prospects in baseball, left-hander Andrew Heaney, makes his major league debut.
23 years of age. He was the 9th overall pick in that 2012 draft. That was the year that Michael Wacha, the Cardinals, was picked 19th overall. He's coming up from a AA, AAA stint. He's 7-2 on the year in the minor leagues with a 2.47. Above average fastball, slider, changeup, throws, strikes, and they say he's got a lot of heart.
So it's his debut tonight. It was just a year and a day ago that Zach Wheeler made his major league debut in Atlanta. Things haven't gone so well for Zach these last couple of times out.
Well, he's 2-7 on the year with an ERA of 4.38. His last two starts, as Gary just said, have not been good. He has not been able to go deep in his starts. He's not averaging 6 innings per start this whole season right now. But his 2 starts against the Marlins this year have been outstanding. In both those starts, he won 6 innings, one his shutout ball, and the other one only gave up 1 run, as you can see the stuff right here. Both of them, he wasn't rewarded with a win. He got 2 no decisions, so he's looking to get back on the winning track.
Zach had a season-high 10 strikeouts against the Marlins the first time he faced. The Mets didn't score the last 2 games they were here at Marlins Park. They'll try and do better tonight as they open up a 4-game series. Mets and Marlins, all the action coming your way tonight on SNY. introducing a car designed with one purpose: to stand apart. The 2014 Lexus IS. It's your move. By Pepsi, live for now. By Citi, tomorrow Mets legend Bobby Ojeda will join Mr. Met at the Citi Bank on 1345 6th Avenue as part of the Citi Retail Bank Mr. Met Tour. By Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Geico. And by Chrysler, visit your local dealer today for great deals on the entire stylish lineup, including the Chrysler 200. You can follow every Mets game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Mets.com today. Time for you to send in your AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet or Instagram your photo using hashtag SNYFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown later tonight during the game. Babies and dogs always favored. Giancarlo Stanton. Nice. Superstar signing autographs. David Wright, same deal. First pitch coming up. Flies are rattling around inside of Andrew Heaney, who makes his big league debut tonight. Considered by many the best left-handed pitching prospect in the game. And there's the Mets Geico lineup to face him. Eric Young's fourth game back from the disabled list. Eric Campbell gets a start instead of Lucas Duda against the left-hander, as the Mets coming off a win that gave them some smiles yesterday against the Cardinals. See if they can back that up tonight. Eric Young leads off. First pitch from Andrew Heaney in the major leagues is a fastball for a strike, and we're underway.
And there's a look at, well, there's his minor league starts this year. That's over AA and AAA. Pretty much tearing it up. 15 walks, very nice.
Young slashes one foul.
He said in the paper today, a quote, that I'm just going to throw fastballs and get ahead, and then go to my breaking ball and change. Something I've always done. I'm not going to change. He's out of Oklahoma State.
9th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago by the Marlins. And making his big league debut tonight, Andrew Heaney. 0-2 coming to Young, and he slashes another one foul. Well, the Mets have all their rehabbing guys here. Bobby Parnell among them.
There you go. Bobby with the beard.
Bobby's been in Port St. Lucie doing his rehab. Dylan G is here as well through a bullpen session today. Matt Harvey is here. Jeremy Hefner is here.
There's something wrong with that. Look at those guys. They're so relaxed.
Well, it's early in the game. It's not their time yet. 0-2 from Heaney, and the breaking ball misses. 1-2 to Young.
Well, there's the first look at the slider from Heaney, which Gary mentioned was his best pitch, and it's got good downward tilt.
They say that is his put-away pitch.
He's a tall, slender kid, 6'2", 185 pounds.
Just 23 years old. 1-2 coming to Eric, and he flies one down the right field line, foul. Well, there's Dylan G, who threw a bullpen session today, trying to come back from that lat injury that has kept him out far longer than anybody thought it would. He felt good through 50 pitches today, expects to make his first rehab start on Tuesday, and might need 2 or 3 rehab starts before he's ready to get back to big league action. Dylan was saying today, as Young takes one in the dirt, that he felt as though he pushed things a little bit too fast too early, and that he regrets that now.
Well, it's also the job of the trainers and everybody else not to let the athlete push it. The athlete doesn't know any better. He wants to get back.
7th pitch to Young is inside, and a full count to the leadoff hitter.
But G definitely had a setback, and as a result, he hasn't been back yet. How long has he been out now?
It's been better than a month.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, that is something wrong there. Come on. Stand at attention.
Big Black's got his boogie going. 3-2 on the way from Heaney, and Young bounces one toward the hole. Tough play for Echeverria against EY's speed. No way he's going to get him. And Eric Young has an infield hit to start the night. So a terrific turn at bat for EY to start the game.
Well, 8 pitches. Got a little Baltimore chop there in the hole. Easily beats it out. And it's nice to have EY back in the lineup. He gives something the Mets have missed, and that's speed at the top.
Well, he's 5 for 13 now since coming off the disabled list, so he's been getting on base, and when he gets on base, the Mets tend to win games. Here's Daniel Murphy. Murphy at .295 for the year, 86 hits, puts him 3rd in the National League. And we'll see how the Mets get creative in terms of trying to score early. 47 first-inning runs this year. That's 3rd in the major leagues. Ball strike to Murph, 0-1.
Interesting how the Cardinals defended Murph in that 3-game series in St. Louis. They moved the third baseman way in the hole. You see McGee at third base. They had Carpenter, excuse me. That's right. I keep thinking he's a second baseman. Further to the left, and took a couple base hits away from Murph.
And Murphy takes the sinker load, 1-1. Now the Mets have obviously seen video on Heaney. They've seen the scouting report. They know what he throws. But if you're a base runner like Eric Young, how much of a read do you think you need to try and swipe a base against a new pitcher?
Well, I almost feel that I'll continue after the pitch. He's pretty quick home. You would want to take a super big lead just to try to draw the throw over from the youngster to get a look at his move. But this is all about feeling him out. I'm sure there's scouting reports on his move, but it's like scouting reports on fastball, slider, changeup pitcher. You got to go up there and hit off him. You got to experience it.
Well, the word on Heaney is that he has been working very hard on his pickoff move, but that controlling the running game is one of his issues. Last year, in his first full professional season, 19 of 20 base stealers were successful against him, so he's been more conscious of it this year.
And it wasn't much of a move to first base right there.
EY with 17 steals. He's been caught only once. And Murphy pounds one foul. I mean, Eric Young missed 3 weeks, and he's still 4th in the National League in stolen bases. He gives you that element that the Mets just don't have from anybody else.
Absolutely. And the Mets are not a very fast team. And as a matter of fact, this Marlin team is not a fast ball club. They are last in the National League in stolen bases.
To Murphy, and he hits a double play ball right at Furcal. The turn by Echeverria, 4-6-3 double play, and just like that, 2 out and nobody on.
See, right there, those are the things that you want to find out about a pitcher. A lefty, and this is a tailor-made double play. Got in on the hands of Murph. Does he pitch inside? And that's something that I always looked for. A lot of left-handers can't pitch inside. The guys that can pitch inside are the ones that are going to be successful. And now that's just one pitch, but it's certainly something to put in the back of your mind. Okay, Let's see if there's a pattern here. If he consistently can throw that strike, then I've got to look in there once in a while and keep him honest.
So here's David Wright with 2 out and nobody on. David had a very encouraging night Tuesday night when he hit his first road home run of the year and added a well-struck double. Yesterday, not so good. 1 for 4, just a bloop hit in his 4 tries.
Oh, but that blooper had an RBI in it, did it not?
You always look for those sticks.
Hey.
But it's been difficult for David.
It has.
It's been such a rough stretch for him over the last month.
He's not getting the head out on the fastballs. And we'll take a quick look at the Miami Marlin defense, and that's brought to you as always by Coors Light. Osuna, I liked him when he came up a couple of wow, that's quick. Thank you. Furcal is back in the lineup at second base.
You've been outrun 2-2 now to David.
Jeez.
Well, we should mention Jake Marisnick's only been up with the Marlins a few days, and he is their best defensive center fielder.
Christian Yelich on the disabled list.
David drives one deep left center field, headed toward the home run sculpture. This ball is out of here. David Wright with a home run. He hadn't hit one on the road all year until he hit one in St. Louis 2 nights ago. And now he drives one out to the home run sculpture for his 6th of the year, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead. Whatever ails David Wright, lefties get him well. And facing the lefty Heaney for the first time, Wright drills one.
Well, anywhere in this middle in right there, fastball. And David's been covering that pitch middle in, and that anywhere in this park is a bomb. So, as you said, Garrett, well struck.
And, you know, if a Marlin hits the home run sculpture, then the thing goes crazy. But, you know, when a visiting player hits the home run sculpture, it just sits there.
Well, we'll see the reaction of Heaney, and he knows. And he's going to tell his grandkids some point that, oh, you know, I gave up my first home run to David Wright.
Well, he's a kid who's not used to giving up home runs. 199 minor league innings. Heaney allowed only 7 home runs. Low home run rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. It's one of the reasons why he is such a treasured prospect. But, you know, the big leagues are a little bit different.
Well, it's the top of the food chain, is it not?
Dominant species. So, more encouraging signs for Wright. 2 home runs in the last 3 nights. 2-0 to Eric Campbell. Getting the start against the lefty. And Heaney, as we so often see with young pitchers, give up a home run. Now they don't want to throw a strike.
Well, I think they just get a little bit. They're nervous, number one, and they just probably get their. Someone just shakes their tree, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a while to recover.
9th start for Campbell, his first in 11 days. Started the game in San Francisco and had a couple of hits. And he hits one in the air to shallow left. Ozuna coming on as Echeverria goes out, and Echeverria puts it away to retire the side, but the Mets get a first inning run on David Wright's 6th home run of the year, spoiling Andrew Heaney's first inning in the big leagues. Zach Wheeler takes a lead to the mound. Recently back after, well, nearly 2 years on the sidelines. Jake Marisnick recently up from the minor leagues. Jared Saltalamacchia just back today from the disabled list, so a little different looking lineup for the Marlins against Zach Wheeler, who has been dominant against Miami so far this year.
Well, another road start for Zach this is his 15th start. This is his 10th road start of the season. That's unusual. Usually they're kind of evenly split, but he's only got 5 home starts.
Well, here is Furcal, who was signed after a year away from big league ball last year to recover from Tommy John surgery. Signed to be the Marlins' second baseman, but suffered a hamstring injury, suffered a groin injury, and did not make his Marlins debut until last week. 5 for 25 to begin his season. And Wheeler misses inside, a ball and a strike. Furcal, now 36 years old, 14th major league season, lifetime .281 hitter. Last played with the Cardinals 2 years ago before he blew out his elbow.
Well, he came up with the Braves. Played his first 7 seasons in Atlanta, and then he left for the Dodgers, a free agent.
And Wheeler and Teagarden having trouble getting together on the same page. Well, it was just a year and a day ago that Zach Wheeler made his heralded debut in his hometown of Atlanta. He was the nightcap, remember, in that Super Tuesday doubleheader. Matt Harvey pitched a gem in the afternoon, and then Wheeler went out and threw 6 scoreless innings in the nightcap.
Well, he's one of the hardest throwers in the league.
Curveball looped down the left field side, and that'll land untouched.
And Zach, and he knows it, needs to get ahead of hitters and be consistent with both his fastball and his breaking ball, getting it over. To me, his changeup is just his third pitch, a pitch that he can throw sporadically, not very often, mixing in occasionally. He's a power guy.
And so are you saying he needs to challenge hitters more?
No. He throws plenty of fastballs. He needs to throw strikes, and he's aware of it.
Slow ground ball for Murphy to handle, and Furcal retired one away.
And we'll take a look at your Metsy defense. And I couldn't pencil this in. I didn't know who was going to start. Chris Young in center again. Eric Young has got to play at a big game yesterday in St. Louis. Tejada back in the lineup. Flores is still struggling at the plate. Eric Campbell gets a start at first with the left-hander, and Taylor Teagarden behind the plate.
Mets made one move after yesterday's game. They sent Matt Dendecker down, brought Kirk Neuenhuis back. Here's Jake Marisnick, and thinks about a bunt and takes ball 1. And you know, Juan Lagares has started to play in simulated games, could be in some minor league rehab games by the weekend, and might be back as soon as next week. But until then, once the Mets get past the left-hander today, perhaps we'll see Neuenhuis hold down center field for a few days.
And when Lagares comes back, it's going to, I think, here we are in the latter part of June now. And Chris Young is just off to, I can't say it's a horrible start. He just hasn't been able to get on track. Mets promised him an everyday chance, and I think, here we are. When Lagares comes back, it's probably going to be July. And, that's 3 months of baseball, and I think it could be more bench duty for Chris Young.
Well, Chris is clearly running out of time because not only has he not hit, he hasn't played well in center field, and it's just been a disaster for him. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2 to Marisnick. Marisnick was part of that huge trade that the Marlins made 2 winters ago with Toronto when Jose Reyes went north of the border. They got Marisnick in that deal. They got their shortstop Echeverria in that deal. They got the pitcher from New Jersey, DeSclafani, who's going to start on Sunday against the Mets. All came in that trade. Late swing foul.
Well, Marisnick took the place of Christian Yelich, who's got lower back issues, put on the DL recently. He's a big kid, 225 pounds, 6'4", and he can fly. But he's not the player that Yelich is.
No, he wasn't exactly tearing it up in AAA. He was hitting .264 with 6 home runs, but he is a gifted defensive player.
The umpire did not call. Did not call a foul tip.
Well,
that's a swing and a miss.
Teagarden ran after it thinking it was a swing and miss.
Oh, the umpire can't tell him to tag him. You can't just instruct the catcher. The umpire, home plate umpire, Ed Hitchcock said, appointed like to tag. You can't do that.
That was very odd. He didn't make any motion at all. He didn't say foul tip.
He's pointing to catcher tag him. You can't do that.
Well, you're supposed to put up your right hand and say strike, as opposed to throwing both hands up to say foul ball. You have to do something demonstrative. In any event, it's a strikeout. So Marisnick is out. 2 out and nobody on for Stanton. And he takes one high for ball 1. Stanton, 20 home runs, 57 RBIs, leads the league in both categories. No home run more impressive than the one he hit earlier this week. A line drive down the right field line that never got more than 20 feet off the ground. I don't know if you saw that one, Keith, but it was one of the most ungodly things I've ever seen in my life.
But here's the point I want to make about Stanton, and as this game progresses, folks, we're going to show you some swings of his, I'm sure, from the low first base camera. It's how he swings so level on the high pitch. And
this is the one day. Look at this.
Oh, hanging slider.
I mean, look how low that ball was.
See how level his swing is?
I mean, that never got off the ground.
He hits 2 irons out of the ballpark.
That's crazy. 3-1 to Stanton.
And he's got 41 walks. He's got 14 intentional passes, no doubt. Even with McGee hitting behind him, hitting .310 and driving in runs. He leads the National League in intentional passes.
Now, yesterday he bruised his left wrist running into the fence in the first inning. That's a big cut there. But hit a home run a couple of innings later, so Mike Redmond figured he was okay. Then he took him out late in that game.
Actually, I think he hit a home run in the bottom half of the inning, if I remember correctly. And then it tightened up as the game progressed.
Anyway, right back in there today. 3-2 coming from Wheeler. And Stanton bounces a foul. Here's yesterday when he hit the wall.
This was in the first inning, I believe, off the bat of Chris Coughlin.
See, he hit that left wrist against the fence.
He wasn't very happy about that.
But you know what, Keith? He is so determined to stay in the lineup this year after all the injuries that have knocked him out the last couple of seasons. 3-2 from Wheeler. Curveball got him. Zach Wheeler back-to-back strikeouts to finish his first inning. Turns Stanton into a pretzel.
I don't think his wrist is 100%.
1-2-3 go the Marlins. 1-0 Mets after 1. Second inning, 1-0 New York. Curtis Granderson leads off against Andrew Heaney and swings at the first pitch he sees from him and fouls it off.
I'm going to keep track of the left-hand bats here. Another fastball in. Got Murph to hit into a double play on a fastball in. There he pounded Curtis in first pitch.
Well, there's been a lot to like from Curtis lately. We detailed his recent numbers. You know what it goes back to? It goes back to his return home to Chicago. Remember, he had that nice couple of games at Wrigley Field, including one where he went 3 for 3, and he's really been on high gear since then.
Well, he also had the wonderful series at Yankee Stadium that got him off the snide.
Lately, though, a lot of walks, high on base percentage, high slugging percentage.
It's almost as if the Mets had one more RBI bat in the lineup. They could put Curtis at the top of the order.
And there's another walk for Granderson, who came into the day third in the National League in walks. His on base percentage now up to .350. So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the second straight inning against Heaney. And here is the beleaguered Chris Young. Chris was 0 for 4 yesterday with a couple of strikeouts in St. Louis.
I will say this, and it's been far and in between, but when Chris Young hits the ball hard, it finds a glove. He's been, so unlucky. And I'm not saying that it's been that many, but shoot, some of them got to fall.
Well, that's what happens when you go in bad, right?
Yep. He hit a bullet line drive down the left field line in the Cardinals series. So, anyway, that's no comfort for Chris. He's struggling.
And he knows, because, well, he's been told flat out that the opportunities are going to dry up soon if he can't get it going. There's a changeup from Heaney, and it's 0-2.
Got a good little sinking change, and I don't see detect any change in his arm speed, any difference in his motion when he throws it. I'm going to watch him very carefully here.
Works from that first base side of the rubber, and gets Young on 3 pitches for his first major league strikeout. So first hit allowed, first home run allowed, first walk, and now first strikeout for Andrew Heaney.
Fastball in.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Taylor Teagarden getting his 7th start. Had a couple of hits yesterday in St. Louis, so gets back-to-back starting assignments. The news on Travis d'Arnaud continues to be outstanding.
Wearing it out.
Had another good night last night. d'Arnaud through 10 games for Las Vegas is hitting .410 with 5 homers and 12 RBIs.
Well, if they don't call him up by the 27th of, was it June, Gary, he becomes, they lose an option.
Teagarden lifts one to center. And Marisnick waits for it to come down. 2 out. I don't think that's going to matter, Keith, to be quite honest, because frankly, when they bring him back up, I don't think they have any intention of sending him back down again. But yeah, that's a procedural question. I just think, you send a kid down, you ask him to perform, and he's performed as well as anybody could have possibly expected. There's no reason to keep him down there for an extended period of time, I wouldn't think.
Well, Terry Collins in the pre-game press conference mentioned that Wally Backman had a conversation with Wally Backman, and he had evidently a bomb off of what a top left-hand, top pitching prospect.
Right. There's Ruben Tejada.
So, it's amazing. You get the weight of the world off your shoulder. I just know exactly what Travis was going through. He wasn't touching the outside pitch. You start pressing, swinging too hard, everything speeds up. You get down to the minors, you get over your initial shame, and it really shouldn't be shame. But that's the way you feel. And then you play your game and you get back in with the guys that you played with last year, and you go to work to try to get back to the big leagues, and it's without pressure, and I think his natural ability now has taken over, and I think he's going to be called up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that we'll see Travis next week, barring any setbacks or injuries or anything.
And you know what I'd like to think, Gary? We just talked about it. This is what I would like to see, and it's not my job to write the lineup. I would not bring him up. We're talking about the Mets needing one more RBI bat. This kid's a doubles hitter. He's not a home run hitter, and particularly at Citi Field. He's hitting line drives. I know he's hit a lot of home runs.
There goes Granderson, and Tejada fouls it off.
Don't hit him in the 7th and 8th spot. Put him in the 5th or 6th spot where he's got someone to hit behind him to cover him, where he's going to get some pitches to hit. Who cares? Put him in a spot where he's supposed to drive in runs. He comes up. He's got his groove. He's got his rhythm. He's feeling good. Keep him protected where they can't pitch around him.
That's going to be an interesting series of questions for Terry to answer about his lineup construction when he gets Darno and Lagares back. There goes Granderson again, and again it's fouled off. I mean, where does Lagares fit right now? Does he fit as the 2-hitter? Does he fit as the leadoff hitter? Do you play Eric Young every day to keep his leadoff bat in the lineup? Where does Juan go otherwise? I mean, how do you put all that together?
I don't have any issues with Juan hitting second because he goes the other way well. You can hit and run with him.
Then what do you do with Murph?
I would like to see Murph hit third, Garrett. I've been saying that for how long?
And hit right cleanup.
Hit right cleanup, and then you move Granderson down to 5th. And then you got Duda, and then it strengthens your lineup and whatever you want to do with Darno.
Then where do you put Darno?
I understand. So they're nice.
It's complicated.
Nice problems to have.
Granderson's been running the last 2 pitches, not this time, and again Tejada fouls it off.
So either way, it's going to make the lineup better, and the Mets have just been really woeful offensively so far. I'm not going to sit up here and beat a dead horse, but they've struggled to score runs. When I asked Terry, I said, "Are you ever going to get a game where you don't have to manage?"
He had kind of won. The one Teagarden hit the grand slam. That was really the only game he's had any kind of substantial lead over the last month.
I mean, it's like sometimes you got to come to the ballpark once a week where you just don't have to manage because your team is just doing it for you.
Well, Granderson will be running here, 3-2 to Tejada. 8th pitch from Heaney to Tejada, and he strikes him out with a fastball to end the inning. So after a leadoff walk, Heaney fans a pair and gets through the top of the 2nd unscathed. 1-0 Mets in Miami. After the Mets-Marlins game Saturday, July 12th, as part of the Mets concert series presented by Dwayne Reed. Catch Huey Lewis in the News live in concert July 12th For tickets, visit Mets.com/concerts. They're your city probables for the remainder of this series. Daisuke Matsuzaka will try and keep it all together for his start tomorrow against Henderson Alvarez. Jacob deGrom still looking. Saturday against Tom Kohler, and then Sunday afternoon, John Neese against New Jersey native Anthony DeSclafani. Casey McGee leads off the home second against Zach Wheeler, who had an impressive first inning. And McGee, first pitch swinging, laces one into center for a leadoff hit.
And that is the reason why McGee has been having this phenomenal season. Only one home run, folks, 44 RBIs, clutch RBIs, and he's just not trying to hit the home run. He's using the whole field. That's a high pitch. You stay level. And he's having himself a terrific year.
He's one of the biggest surprises in the National League this year, you'd have to say, coming back from Japan and being the guy behind Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup. And he's taking advantage of that. I mean, Stan's on base all the time, and McGee has driven him in. Stanton has, 51 runs scored? McGee is a big part of that. Here's Garrett Jones lining one right to the bag. Campbell with the easy double play, and they're at 2 out.
Well, hang with him. The ball was not hit sharply, but a little more elevation, and it's first and third. Oh, it's second and third. So nothing McGee can do there.
So 2 pitches by Wheeler here in the second inning, a base hit and a line drive double play. Living right. 2 out and nobody on. Now Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna having a nice first full year in the big leagues. Strikes out a lot, but hits home runs.
Well, he's a streak hitter, and he swings. And Wheeler had his way with him here. Made him look bad there. And then this fastball, threw it by him. Good cut, but threw it by him. I liked him when he came up, Gary. And you know why I like him? I don't care if he strikes out. Would you take his 42 RBIs? I would. He swings. He swings it.
Well, the Marlins have potentially the best young outfield in the major leagues with Stanton, Ozuna, Yelich, who's hurt right now, and Marisnick. All 24 and under, and all tremendously talented.
I tell you what, Wheeler has 3 hit by pitches so far this season, and I tell you what, that one he ribbed in San Francisco, the right fielder, Hunter Pence. Oh, did he drill him?
In comes Tejada, easy play. Side retired. 6-pitch inning for Zach Wheeler. We're through 2 in Miami. Mets 1, Marlins nothing. Audi A3. Roof closed in Marlins Park tonight. Thunderstorms around. This is what the roof was made for this time of year in South Florida.
We are very grateful to the taxpayers of Miami. Thank you very much.
Somebody's happy. Zach Wheeler leads off against Andrew Heaney as we start the third inning. Mets with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of a David Wright first inning home run. And Wheeler takes a strike. Well, we're watching tonight one of the more promising left-handers in terms of prospects. 7 or 8 years ago, there was a young left-hander out of Texas who was thought of the way Heaney is. His name was Clayton Kershaw, and last night Kershaw pitched a game for the ages, one of the best games that anybody has ever pitched, as Wheeler grounds one down to Garrett Jones, and that's the first out. A no-hitter, only one base runner on an error by Hanley Ramirez in the 7th. No walks, 15 strikeouts. That had never been done before. It's the most strikeouts ever for a pitcher that allowed no hits and no walks in a major league game, and arguably one of the greatest games ever pitched. And he did it against Colorado, one of the best offensive teams in the league. The
#1 hitting team in the National League, Colorado. Now, granted, they were on the road, but still, that's a pretty powerful lineup. And what impresses me, and it's out of that Dodger tradition too, getting those great pitchers, Koufax, Drysdale, Newcomb, if you want to go back to the Brooklyn days. He's got a very herky-jerky motion, very difficult to pick up, and a couple of curveballs he dropped yesterday were off the charts. So I've just been informed that 14 out of the 15 strikeouts were on breaking stuff. So it's a game when Kershaw came to the ballpark and had it going on, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm sure our colleague Mr. Darling can preach to that.
Good changeup by Heaney, gets ahead on Young, 1-2. Well, Terry Collins was relating a story today. And Terry worked in the Dodger farm system when Kershaw was first drafted by the Dodgers back in '06, and he said the first bullpen session Kershaw threw when he reported to minor league camp, Terry said, I didn't want to, I didn't want to spook him, so I didn't go down and watch. But Rick Honeycutt was the minor league pitching coach, and Honeycutt watched him, and so Terry went to Honeycutt when Kershaw was done as they walked back and said, well, "What'd you think?" And he said, Honeycutt said one word, said, "Wow."
What was that great announcer for the Green Bay Packers football? Was it
Ray Scott?
Ray Scott. Bart starred $1. Wow. That was his line.
Sometimes that's all you need. And Kershaw's been every bit of that. I mean, he's led the league in ERA 3 straight years. He's led the league in strikeouts 2 of the last 3 years. Eric Young drives one to right at Stanton for the second out. And this was the culmination last night, his first career no-hitter.
Oh, breaking stuff. Wow, good slide piece right there.
The first no-hitter at Dodger Stadium by a Dodger since Ramon Martinez in 1995. And remember, Josh Beckett threw the other no-hitter in Major League Baseball this year. The first teammates to throw no-hitters in the same season since the 1972 Chicago Cubs. Murphy lines one over the glove of Jones, but just fouled. 1972, the Cubs had Milt Pappas and Bert Hooton throw no-hitters in the same season.
Bert came up and he threw the knuckle curve out of the University of Texas, All-American, and no one had ever seen the knuckle curve, and Bert got off to that terrific start. It's the 11th shutout for Dodgers. Dodger starters, but no hitter, excuse me.
Look at that. Last 4 starts, 1 walk, 40 strikeouts. For the year, he has 8 walks and 86 strikeouts.
What's an interesting note, too, is an article in the USA Today, Gary, about the record pace of pitchers throwing shutout innings. And baseball's on a pace for 377 shutouts, which would blow away the record in 1915 in a 154-game schedule of 359. In 1972, it was 357 was the record for a 162-game schedule. So
Well, pitching is ascendant right now. There's no question. And, you know, you look at every major league organization, and they've all got some dominant young arms. And Heaney's just the latest one that we've seen. 2-2 to Murphy. Certainly the Mets have their own stable of fine young pitching, both at the major league level and bubbling below. But that's where the game is right now.
And I just wonder if it's just a residual effects of that steroid era where they taught all that upper body hitting and no legs, and now with the increased penalties, which I think are wonderful, are the best thing that happened. If you know, players, I don't see the big massive bodies anymore. I see more natural bodies, and balls that were going out, they're F9, F8s, F7s on your scorecard.
Three-two to Murphy, and he lines one the other way. He's got himself a base hit.
That's a terrific at bat for Murph. Really, really a good at bat. Fastball away. It went right with it. He lets go with one hand. I'd like to see Murph with 2 strikes really drive that ball into the left center field gap, because that really should be the way Murph hits. And Murph hit a lot similar to me, where that pitch on the outside corner, whether it's a sinker, I don't care how it's moving, that's a ball he should crush. And that should be the gapper into left center field.
Well, speaking of crushing, that's what David Wright did to Andrew Heaney's fastball his first time up tonight.
Well, David got a fastball middle end and down, and the fish were jumping out of the water.
He clanked it right off the Marlin. Next, he's got to aim for the Flamingos.
This is such a large ballpark. Everywhere. 344 down the left field line. 386 in the gap.
There's only one guy who makes this ballpark look small.
Yes, and it's he's got, his name is Achilles. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Mike Stanton. 418 in center field, Gary. 392 right center. That's almost as large as the Astrodome.
Pulled down to third. Nice backhand play by McGee. And Wright is retired to end the inning. So David's hit 2 balls hard tonight. Middle of the third. 1-0 New York. Winfield. Mackie Sasser had a bad case of the yips, and WWF Wrestling came clean about being fake. This week, relive the best sports stories from 1989 on Oh Yeah. New episode Sunday at 10 p.m. only on SNY.
Now, Gary, were you instructed to emphasize that, or oh yeah?
No, I've been working with that, trying to figure out what tone they're looking for, and it's supposed to be recalling things that happened, like oh yeah, like that.
You're becoming a ham actor.
No, I'm just trying to emote the part.
Emote precisely.
There you go. Jared Saltalamacchia is first at bat since coming off the disabled list. Took a foul tip off the mask right at the end of May, so he's been out almost 3 weeks. Suffered a concussion. He had been slumping, Saltalamacchia had, right before he got hurt. Got off to a very hot start, coming over, well, I guess back to the National League. He played briefly with the Braves before he went to Texas and Boston.
He's always been a guy, the switch hitter. More power from the left side. All of his home runs this year, all 6, have been from the left side of the plate.
And that's the full shift on against Saltalamacchia, who has been trying to yank everything.
He's a dead low ball hitter, and he tries to hit it out, that's for sure. And you can see the big uppercut. He's going to have trouble all day long upstairs. Once you drop that back shoulder, look at the back, go right with it, and then you cannot hit that pitch above your waist.
His last 89 plate appearances before getting hurt, he was hitting 177. So he had really tailed off. 2-2 from Wheeler, and it fell back. 97 from Zach.
He throws hard. Let me tell you, get that easy motion, and it's like that's where that term came from, freight train, right? Who'd they call freight train? Was it Walter Perry Johnson?
He was big train.
Big train. It was like a freight train. I mean, it's just rumbling down the rails. Get out of the way. Throwing from the first base side of the rubber.
Balloons the curveball, and it's 3-2. Danny Echeverria, the number 8 hitter on deck, and then the pitcher Heaney against Wheeler, who needed just 25 pitches to get through the first 2 innings, and that's big for him. He's averaged more pitches per inning than any pitcher in the National League this year. 18, which is why it's hard for him to get deep into games.
Precisely. And as I said in the open, he is not averaging over 6 innings per start.
About 5.5 right now for the season, and last start went only 5 against San Diego. And the start before that, he got knocked out in the 4th, so it's been a poor stretch for Zach. But you know, you look at his 2 starts against the Marlins this year: 12 innings, 1 run, 6 hits, 17 strikeouts. So you know, you see flashes of it here and there.
Right.
But this is, I guess, this is what you expect from a kid who's had a calendar year in the big leagues. And he goes away to strike out Saltalamacchia. That's his 3rd of the night.
Little running fastball away. The fish for biting. That is strikeout number 82 on the year, and that will get a little Cholula with a little garlic on it.
I love the little flames that come up from the Cholula.
96. He's had he topped out earlier in the first inning. He had a 98, I noticed. That's getting up near Nolan Ryan range.
Here's a Danny Echeverria. Miller runs one inside. Now the Marlins have been a much better offensive team at home than they have been on the road, which is surprising only because this is not considered a great hitter's ballpark. But they're averaging 5 runs per game at home, hitting .269, 3.8 runs per game on the road, hitting .245, and nobody's a better exemplar of that than the guy at the plate, Echeverria. He's hitting .331 at home, .213 on the road.
Room check.
What does that mean? Ranging wide is Campbell to get it, so Wheeler has to cover, and that's the 2nd out. Didn't they used to call that bed check?
Bed check, excuse me. Bed check. I've had managers that if you were struggling on a road trip, they'd check your room in the minor leagues.
And if you were having too much fun, that's a problem. I mean, they've been hitting more home runs at home than on the road.
You see, remember, they got off to a miserable start on the road. They couldn't win on the road.
And you see their ERA is far better at home as well. So they're just, in every phase, they're playing that much better at home. Yeah, they've lost 2 straight series here on this homestand. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Pirates, 2 out of 3 to the Cubs coming into this series. Here's Heaney's first big league at bat.
Well, the culprit has been, I think, has been their starting pitching. Has not been ever since Jose Fernandez went down. They've struggled, and their bullpen has been really taxed, much like the Mets bullpen has been taxed with that big series, that excruciatingly long series in Philadelphia. Recently, the Marlins had a similar series at home here, 2 13-inning games. The bullpen went over 20 innings during that short stretch.
Well, the bigger problem is that their starters just haven't been going deep in games. I mean, they are revamping their starting rotation on the fly with Heaney joining the rotation. They've worked DeSclafani into the rotation as well. After they lost Fernandez, they brought up a couple of, for lack of a better term, scrap heap guys. They signed Randy Wolf, who's since been DFA'd. Kevin Slowey got DFA'd.
Yes.
So now they're going with their young guys to see if they can fill the bill alongside guys like Henderson Alvarez and Nate Eovaldi and Tom Kohler, who've been here all year. Heaney chops one down to third, and David Wright will make the play. Low throw, and Campbell digs it out nicely to end the inning. Campbell saving Wright in air as Heaney was running hard. Wheelers faced the minimum over the first 3 innings. Good dig by Campbell. 1-0 Mets after 3. With the exhaust coming out of the
that is
side of the stadium?
Air conditioning? Probably hot air or cool going into the steamy, muggy night of my air in Miami.
Well, they obviously spend a lot of money on air conditioning.
Oh, boy.
This building.
We had, they got leaks.
A little rain inside earlier this evening.
What's very interesting, folks, is that thunder, when it strikes, the lightning strikes with the thunder, and this roof's on the stadium, we can hear it in here as if we were out in the elements. But there's no rain delays anymore.
Well, that's why they built the place. Eric Campbell takes a strike. And it wasn't even so much that they had rainouts. It's just that every day in the summertime here, there's a threat of rain late afternoon, early evening.
How would you want to sit here in a July, August evening or day game when it's 90 degrees and the humidity's off the charts? You're sitting there sweating.
I got no problem with that.
I know you don't. I do.
I know you do.
I'm a California kid, northern too, not southern. A little colder climes.
Used to those 60-degree parka nights in July. Sitting at Candlestick Park, freezing your petunias off.
Oh.
Campbell popped up to short his first time up, playing first base tonight. And he pops this one up into shallow center. And Marisnick comes on. Campbell getting the start at first base tonight with the left-hander going. Lucas Duda has just not hit against lefties this year. Lucas is 5 for 34 with no extra base hits. And I know it's the goal for Terry Collins to at some point have Lucas in there every day against the lefties, but how do you do that when he hasn't gotten any hits against lefties?
And you've got a club that's praying for runs. It's just really been a struggle for this team to score.
Granderson pops this one up into shallow left, and on comes Ozuna. And there are 2 out. But I guess with my question, Keith, is with a guy like Duda, who when he first came up hung in pretty well against lefties, how do you get him there unless you play him?
I agree. He does still stay in, Gary. Lucas has become a dead pull hitter. I like Lucas when he used left center field. He's a very strong man. There's not a ballpark that can hold him to left center field. And he's just become a dead pull hitter.
Here's Young, who struck out his first time up, and he tops this one. Heaney quickly off the mound, and Andrew Heaney has himself a very quick and effective 4th inning. 7 pitches. Middle of the 4th, still 1-0 Mets. Rehabbing pitchers are here tonight, including Matt Harvey.
Oh, Matt looks a little more settled, doesn't he? He was chomping at the bit early. I think he's come to the realization that it is just going to take time.
And probably all the time remaining in this season.
Absolutely.
Rafael Furcal leads off in the home 4th inning and takes outside from Wheeler. it is more likely that Jeremy Hefner will be able to throw this season for the Mets than it is that Matt Harvey would. It's a little bit ahead of Matt in terms of his rehab from Tommy John surgery.
Now, would you think that if Harvey was, would they put him in winter ball if he was prepared to able to go and pitch a little bit? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they want to make sure that every pitch that he throws between now and opening day 2015 is monitored.
Yep. Well, you can always put him with a manager that's part of the Met organization. I just don't know at what point he can go full tilt and be in competition.
Get ready for spring training. I mean, once he's ready to get up on a mound, you let him do that, then you rest and you get ready for next season. Verkal grounded out to second his first time up, and he lines this one to left. Over comes Eric Young, almost lost it on the lights, but stays with it. Boy, that's tough. That liner coming right out of the lights.
Well, you can see him right there starting to have difficulty. And there's nothing more frightening than that, because you don't want that. You lose it in the lights, and oh my gosh, the ball gets by me. That could be an inside the park home run. Certainly a triple.
Well, those are the lights behind first base that he's looking into, and you get that every once in a while with those line drives. Jake Marisnick swings over a curveball. Marisnick struck out his first time up. Just his fourth start since coming back from the minor leagues.
Oh, threw it right by him. That's where he's got to pound those righties. This is really tying up Marisnick and a lot of hitters. A lot of hitters are low ball hitters today from both sides of the plate.
There's your fastball velocity. Zach Wheeler up in the top four, presented by Verizon Fios, making life more entertaining with America's fastest, most reliable internet. That's powerful.
That's their averages.
That's among starters. Of course, there are relief pitchers who have average fastballs beyond 95.
Breaking ball, there's his issue. There he's just wrapping it around the plate. He wanted it down and away. One thing that I've seen of Zach is that when he comes to the ballpark, there's only one game, and I forget which game it was, where he didn't have his fastball. He brings it to the ballpark every fifth day, and he brings his fastball with him. He doesn't forget it and leave it in the room or leave it back in the home.
Left it in my other suit. 2-2 to Marisnick, and he just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
People love baseball here. It's not a, can't say it's a great crowd, but by any stretch of the imagination.
Seventh pitch from Wheeler to Marisnick, and he bounces another one foul.
But he's pounding Marisnick in, and Marisnick does not like it. He's on top of the plate, and boy, oh boy. There's Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Marlins.
With his lovely bride.
He's nice enough to come by and chat with us earlier. Nice backhand play by Wright, and he throws out Marisnick for the second out.
I ran into Jeffrey out in the hate to say the word, but it is. As I ran out in the Hamptons, I was having dinner out at Roberts in one of the fine restaurants out there. It's in Watermill, and he was there with his wife, and we tossed the bull around for a little bit.
Now, why were you hesitant to say the word Hamptons? You afraid of sounding elitist?
Well, yes, because I am not elitist.
But you're a man of the people.
No, that's right. I'm the son of a fireman. You're darn right.
Here's Giancarlo Stanton with 2 out. I mean, if that's where you saw him, that's where you saw him.
I did see him. I could have said Watermill.
Oh, that's Keith in the Hamptons.
That's over in where in the heck was that? It's over on the North Fork. Oh, I can't think of the name. That's my trainer, my Rich Decker. Rich Decker.
That was your Popeye.
You see those guns?
Yeah. 1-1 coming to Stanton, and a fastball in for a strike. 1-2. Now, you thought Stanton's wrist looked a little gimpy that first at bat?
Let's take a peek. I was not paying attention.
Wheeler ahead of him, 1-2. This time he didn't chase the curveball. That's the pitch struck him out the first time up.
That is a physical specimen.
He's always going to strike out a lot. 79 strikeouts this year, but boy, you trade that for what he gives you. 2-2. Missed with a fastball, full count.
And you can see, folks, that Stanton, just to give you a refresher course, he is 6'6", 242 pounds, and you can see there's not an ounce of fat on him.
24 years old, already has 137 lifetime home runs. 3-2 coming. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. Wheeler strikes out Stanton. 4th strikeout of the night for Zach Wheeler.
Yes.
Keith Hernandez, muscle man.
We were listening to live music there on that Sunday afternoon.
Nightlife capital of Miami. Your Verizon trivia question for tonight: which 3 pitchers have the most wins in Marlins history? Simple question. Marlins came into being in 1993. Taylor Teagarden leads off in the 5th inning, takes a strike. They won a World Series in their 5th season in 1997. They won another one in 2003.
Disbanded both clubs. instantly. Wayne Huizenga, the first demolition derby, brought to you by Wayne Huizenga, and then the second one was, who were the owners then? Forget. No, it wasn't Jeffrey.
Oh, 2 to Teagarden, and he takes it outside, 1-2. Well, in 1997, Jim Leland skippered the Marlins to the World Series title, then was around the next year to lose 108 games. And Jack McKeon,
remember,
second time around, replaced Jeff Torborg during the season in 2003.
And that team just responded to Jack. Jack's one of the old school guys. Take that. And just did a terrific job that year. The team just really responded to him.
Teagarden down on strikes. Third strikeout for Heaney. And there's Jim Leland.
And there's that ugly old uniform, too. There's Trader Jack.
So, Jack's what, 83 years old now?
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe he'll be back for another stint managing the Marlins.
Jack told me when he was managing the San Diego Padres when I was traded to New York, he said he tried to work a deal with Whitey for me. I'm glad that didn't work out. Not because of Jack.
Imagine how different your life would have been if you played in San Diego.
Well, I would have got back to California, and it certainly would have been wonderful playing there, and I loved that ballpark. But my life was, honestly, I'm not blowing smoke, just was so enriched by playing in New York, and also having to be very fortunate, Gary, that a decade is the greatest decade, the most successful decade in Met history.
If you had been traded to San Diego in the early 80s, and you and I haven't spoken about this because we haven't been on the air since it happened earlier this week, but you would have ended up playing with Tony Gwynn.
That's true.
Imagine the two of you in the same lineup.
Two left-hand hitters. Gosh, who would have hit third?
He would have hit second, which he liked to do sometimes. Popped up on the right side. Garrett Jones right to the railing, but not enough room. But I know it hit all of us so hard when we heard about Tony's passing earlier this week.
I had no idea that it had taken a turn for the worse. So it was a shock. And, you know, you got Bob Welsh, who died of a heart attack. You're starting to get into the guys that I played against and played with that were my peers. And it's a little sobering.
2-2 to Tejada. And he lines one to left. Ozuna measures it. 2 out.
I mean, I grew up, and you did too, Gary. You know, you grew up with John Wayne and Burt Lancaster and all those great actors, and they're dying. You know, Bob Hope, but they were older. We were kids growing up, and this one is more contemporary. There were our contemporaries, and
far too young. I mean, Tony was 54, for goodness sake.
And you know what? When you're gone, you don't come back. So, 8 batting titles. How about that?
Wheeler rolls one out for Furcal, so Heaney has hit his stride. He's retired 7 in a row. That gets us halfway through. Mets 1, Marlins nothing. talks about being a Jet, playing for Rex, and the quarterback competition. Plus, the SNY crew will have a complete mini camp wrap-up on Jets Nation Sunday at 7, only on SNY. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Casey McGee will lead off for the Marlins, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, it's funny sometimes in life how things work out, have a way of working themselves out. Casey McGee, at the end of the 2012 season, he thought he was going to be out of the major leagues for good. He went over to play in Japan after not receiving any offers to play full-time in the major leagues. And he actually had himself a nice season over there in Japan, hit .292. But the odds are no one would have recognized had it not been for a teammate of his, a pitcher in Japan. You may have heard of him. His name is Masahiro Tanaka. Casey McGee said that so many scouts were over watching Tanaka that they happened to catch him play a couple of times. Not only do they like what they see enough to offer him a job back in the major leagues, but the Marlins liked him enough to offer him a starting position.
I would think that the success of the former Rakuten Golden Eagles on this side of the pond might lead more scouts to be looking at that team for future talent.
So very fortunate. That's a interesting little sidebar right there on Casey.
Wheeler falls behind McGee 3-0.
Making the most of your, what would you say, riding on coattails? What was that?
You're saying he's riding Tanaka's coattails?
Yes. There you go.
Well, you know, for McGee, as he walks on 4 pitches, it's the second time around for him. I mean, he had one phenomenal year in Milwaukee, and then things started to fade for him. But, you know, he showed in Japan that he could hit, although in Japan he was more of a home run hitter. He hit 28 home runs last year. This year he has concentrated solely on hitting line drives. He's only hit 1 home run, but he's having a superb year.
And, you know, I ran into, in the lobby today, I had a long conversation with Lamar Johnson, the new hitting coach for the Mets. And we talked about hitting. And McGee is a classic example. He's not hitting home runs. Lamar Johnson is trying to emphasize doubles, and his point is these guys, it doesn't factor in. They all want to hit home runs. He wants to get rid of the uppercut swings. He wants guys to swing level and down on the ball. That's what he wants to see, and I agree with him. And his point on the doubles is, hey, a double scores a runner from first and also puts you in scoring position. So I agree 100% with Lamar, and there's too many guys that want to hit home runs. And I played against Lamar in AAA, and he went on to he was with Des Moines when I played in Tulsa, and he was one of the best hitters in the league.
And Keith, you know, Casey McGee's really embraced this role of being a guy to drive runners in with runners in scoring position. He's actually hitting, coming into the game, .397 with runners in scoring position. That's second in the majors behind Troy Tulowitzki with guys with a minimum of 50 at-bats. He's also got 31 hits with runners in scoring position. To give you an idea of how different that is from last season's Marlins team, Danny Echeverria, he had 29 hits with runners in scoring position last year. That led the entire team. So it's been a big boost, has this signing of Casey McGee, maybe the steal of the year.
Well, certainly off to a terrific start.
Well, you saw that stat, 1 home run, 44 RBIs. I mean, that's historic to have that many RBIs with only 1 home run. And, you know, nobody can speak better to the ability to drive in runs without hitting a lot of home runs than you can.
True, and Tommy Hurst certainly had that great year with St. Louis, hitting third with Ozzie Smith and Vince Coleman hitting in front of him.
What do you have, 8 homers, 110?
Yeah, something like that. So, and this is a big ballpark, and Citi Field's a big ballpark. There's big gaps. I don't care how you drive them in. But there's more success hitting the ball squarely, and that means swinging level. When swinging up, it makes it, the odds are go against you.
3-2 and nobody out. Jones, a guy who will strike out, so we'll see if McGee runs. He does not, and Jones takes strike 3 call.
Well, pretty good pitch right there, backdoor slider. And did it get? Oh boy, I don't think it got there. I think that was framed nicely by tea garden there. He brought it. You saw him bring the glove in.
It's 5 strikeouts for Wheeler. So 1 out and 1 on for Marcell Ozuna. Well, any way you slice it, Zach Wheeler looks much more like the good Zach than the less than stellar Zach we've seen the last couple of starts.
And here he is pitching in a very tight ball game with no margin for error. This is
double play ball if they hurry. Murphy with the turn, doubles up Ozuna, side retired. 6-4-3 to get Wheeler through the bottom of the 5th. 5 in the books in Miami, still 1-0 New York. Friday, July 4th, with a post-game fireworks show presented by Citi following the Mets game against the Rangers at 7:10. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Top of the batting order, 3rd time around for the Mets against Andrew Heaney, making his big league debut. He's allowed just a run on 3 hits over the first 5.
He's certainly settled in.
Young had an infield hit to lead off the game. Flied out to right his 2nd time up.
He's another one of those lanky, tall, long-armed lefties. Almost slings it up there and effortless in his delivery. Doesn't exert a lot of energy as Mejia does. Fairly fluid, you can see.
Well, he's certainly not overpowering. I don't think you'd ever characterize him that way.
And that's what they said, above average fastball. I think what he's going to have to learn now is he's going through the league for the first time.
Another play in the hole for Echeverria, makes the sliding stop, and he throws out Young. What a tremendous play by Echeverria. Terry Collins is going to come out, and the Mets will consider challenging this call.
I think they're going to challenge the cheat at first base by Jones. He's out. Well, let's get a better look at this. He's safe.
Young has a tendency to fly on the final step to first base. He launches himself to the bag and hangs in the air for a long time. And it's close enough that the Mets are not going to challenge.
Let's see. There's no cheat by the first baseman. That's close.
Yeah.
That kind of takes away another little craft of the game, the first baseman cheat. See, you can get, how do I describe this? We can freeze that. Get more stretch by getting on your toes on the corner of the bag. the part of the bag that goes up vertically from the ground, the face of it, on the tip and on your toes, so it gives you an extra 3 inches of stretch. I don't know if I explained that correctly. I wish I could demonstrate.
So it's just about your foot position on the bag.
Right. You want to be in a close play, Gary. You don't want to be on top of the bag. You want to be on the facing of the bag. Is that the right word?
The front edge.
Yeah. And so therefore you can have your foot at an angle.
Murphy lines one past the glove of Furcal, and Murph has a base hit. Snaps a string of 8 in a row retired by Heaney. Murphy's second hit of the night.
Well, it's a pretty tough left-hander. Haven't seen him. Murph hits lefties well.
By the way, all that having been said about Jones's footwork at first, the last shot we showed looked like Young might have been safe.
Yes.
So, but you know, the Mets have gotten burned a couple of times on calls like that have been close but not definitive.
And we'll take a look at the footwork here. And he's kind of on top of the bag. And if you get on the side of that bag, it gives you an extra inch or two. And
so it's almost like you put your foot on the side, keep your toe on it, and push off.
Yep, and get maximum stretch.
And
that throw is high. The lower the throw, and the lower you can get in your stretch, the more you can stretch out and get a bigger stretch.
David Wright has contributed the only run of this game with a home run to left center his first time up against Heaney. David started the night hitting .403 against lefties. And sure enough, this lefty got him going. 2 home runs in the last 3 games now for David.
David's got a big hole between the first baseman and the second baseman for Cal. For Cal, way up the middle. That's get a ball away, and that's first and third.
Heaney behind him 2-0. And Wright got a fastball and fouled it back 2-1.
So many times we've just seen David, and he's starting to swing the bat better, just not getting around on fastballs. And it has been going on for quite some time. And what does this do? He's tardy all the time. It's a pitch you should hit and be out of the box, and you're still in the at bat, and it allows the pitcher to make a nasty pitch on you. Send Murph here? I think so.
3-1?
Absolutely.
Eric Campbell on deck.
David's a veteran hitter, knows not to swing at ball 4.
Murphy with 11 steals.
Nope.
Not running, and David fouls it off. 3-2.
Another fastball count. And
it's the fastball away that's giving him the trouble. Right?
Fastball away, any pitch away, he's not covering, Gary. But left-handers, he's better at covering the outside corner. But his big issue has been not getting the bat head through on the fastballs, the guys that throw fairly hard.
Well, you got to send Murph here, don't you?
I would think so.
He's running. Grounded to short. Echeverria goes to second anyway, and they turn the double play. Murphy got a terrible start off first base, and the Marlins wind up turning the double play even with the runner going.
Well, and to Murph's defense here, you don't know the guy's move. You're going to be extra cautious.
So Heaney with 6 innings, he's down 1-0. Marlins against Zach Wheeler, who's been tremendous today. He's faced the minimum over the first 5 innings. So he gets Saltalamacchia, Echeverria, and Heaney, 7, 8, and 9 in the Marlins batting order. And Miami will get their bullpen started.
Yeah, they're more than likely 91 pitches for Heaney.
Saltalamacchia struck out his first time up, 1 of 5 for Wheeler tonight. Wheeler's numbers against the Marlins this year are becoming more and more extraordinary. He's thrown 17 innings now against the Marlins, allowed 1 run and 7 hits.
Right. And
Brian Morris, the former Pirate, gets up in the Miami bullpen.
And winless, as well as all no decisions.
Line right, can't get to it. It's a base hit for Saltalamacchia.
And I bet you that pitch was down.
Only the second hit of the night for the Marlins. Let's check in with the studio. Kareth Burke standing by for a game break, brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealer. Braves have Gavin Floyd going tonight, trying to recover after being swept by the Phillies the last 3 days.
I think it looks like Washington starting to getting their people back, and they're starting to heat up a bit.
Well, they've certainly been pitching well, and the offense has come together with Zimmerman back in the lineup. Here's Echeverria, and he takes a strike. The only question is when Bryce Harper gets back, somebody's feelings are going to get hurt.
Well, no, someone's going to be unhappy.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, somebody's going to have to sit, because you know Harper's going to play every day. And I have a feeling it's going to be Denard Span. Although right now Matt Williams is being cagey about how that's going to work. Another double play ball. Murphy to Tejada. And the Mets turn 2 again. Their 3rd double play of the night. And just like that, 2 out and nobody on.
Well, something the Mets have had difficulty in over the years, and that is tailor-made, easily turned. Nice, beautiful hop from Murph. And that's an automatic. That would be ground ball and Stratomatic, ground ball, second base, A.
Justin, sorry.
No, go ahead, Gary.
Go ahead.
I'm just
Give me a Stratomatic number.
Talking nonsense. A means double play.
Justin Bohr is going to be the pinch hitter. Bohr out of George Mason University has had 16 big league at bats, hitting .313 for the Marlins. He is a big left-hand hitter. And takes ball 1 from Wheeler. So Heaney is done after 6 innings in his big league debut, and the Marlins couldn't have asked for a whole lot more. Gave up just a run on 4 hits.
Yeah, I would take that every time a young man runs out there.
And Bohr lifts one to center field. Should be easy for Chris Young. And that retires the side. So Wheeler has still faced the minimum over 6, helped out by 3 double plays. He's got a 1-0 lead. Brought to you by StubHub. Earn 2% back in fan rewards on every purchase on StubHub, including Mets tickets. StubHub, your ticket to upgrades and more. By Cholula Hot Sauce, the hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap. Available in original flavor, chili lime, chili garlic, and chipotle. And by Hyundai. Hyundai leaves the rest wanting. Find out why by visiting buyhyundai.com today. From the position battles to the quarterback competition, check out SNY.TV for all the latest news from Jets minicamp with exclusive interviews and videos straight from Florham Park. On the JetsBlog.com, all part of the SNY.TV blog network. Well, the newly minted Marlin, fresh from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Brian Morris comes on to pitch.
Well, he has been everything. He struggled at Pittsburgh, but since coming over here, 7 games he's been in, hasn't given up a run in 9 1/3 innings.
He was part of that very successful bullpen in Pittsburgh last year, but was hurt a good portion of the year.
He's a strikeout guy, throws hard.
Eric Campbell, first man up against him. Campbell got the start against the lefty tonight, popped up, flied out. Campbell, Granderson, and Young for the Mets in the 7th. The only run of this game coming on a David Wright home run back in the first inning.
Good sinker there, Gary.
And he's right. That's what Morris will do to you. Sinkers and cutters.
This is right down the middle, and watch it just kind of sink late. That's not a bad pitch.
Morris, 27 years old, from Tullahoma, Tennessee. Grounded down to first, and Garrett Jones handles it. Morris covers, 1 out. So Andrew Heaney in his debut, 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts on the home run, 91 pitches. And the job well done, but no win in his first start from Mr. Heaney, although he looks pretty happy with his effort.
Oh, I'm sure he feels very good and relieved. Got nothing to be ashamed of. He did a terrific job. He's just getting out-dueled by Zach Wheeler.
This is the best Wheeler has looked in weeks, and he needed this one. Now the question is, can the Mets get him a little more of a cushion? Granderson has walked and flied out. He drew the only walk from Heaney in his 6 innings. And Curtis takes the cutter inside. Granderson now with 44 walks. That's 3rd in the National League. And has certainly boosted his on-base percentage, which is right up around 350 now.
He's a whole hard sinker baller.
Morris was in 55 games with the Pirates last year, and their bullpen was such a key to them winning that first wild card in the National League and knocking out the Reds.
Interesting how that young outfielder they just called up is tearing it up. The Pirates.
Oh, Polanco. Well, he's a huge prospect. There's a strike, 3-1. I don't know if you heard when I said this, but there was a scout when Polanco was called up who said that with Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco, Andrew McCutchen has the 3rd best tools in that outfield. It's pretty strong words, but that is that's quite a talented trio. That's drilled into right field, a base hit for Granderson. And so the Mets have just their 5th hit of the night, and Curtis is on base for the 2nd time.
Well, Curtis continues to shine. That's a high pitch too, so it's good to see getting a little. Usually he has trouble with that pitch above the belt. Much more level on this belt high fastball. What's going on downstairs here? The glove, I guess, from
Saltalamacchia has trouble with his catcher's mitt, so he's going to trade it out. And he has now done that. Strong work by Rob Leary, the bench coach, to locate his backup.
There's always someone down there that's an expert at lacing gloves.
Usually the trainer.
Yep.
So they'll take it to the glove doctor.
And that glove will be fixed and ready if he wants to use it next inning. It'll be ready for him.
Chris Young has struck out and hit a weak comebacker, 0 for 2. Hitless in his last 9 at-bats, and he grounds that one foul.
I once had a throw on I was in St. Louis, And I always use 2 gloves in the course of a season, and I would go to my second glove, which was already broken in and ready to go in for game action after the All-Star break. And one time they had a weak lace, and I caught a ball in my webbing, and the ball was halfway through the webbing, and it just stuck right there. So half was exposed on the backside, and I caught it right in front of my face. I'll never forget it.
Lucky it didn't go through.
Oh, if it had gone through it broke my nose, knocked a tooth out.
Might have ruined your future TV career.
My goodness. Hollywood.
Would have been no Seinfeld. No second spitter. No magic loogie. All that would have been famous.
I've always had a guardian angel on my shoulder. I've gotten myself in more tight spots than you can shake a stick at.
Don't push your luck.
I'm very mellow in my 60th decade on this earth.
Your dotage.
My 6th decade, excuse me, not my 60th.
Methuselah.
Yes.
Here's the 1-1 to Young, and he lines one out of left field, a base hit for Chris Young. Granderson going first to third, challenging Ozuna, who makes the throw too late, and that enables Young to take the extra base. So the Mets have second and third and 1 out.
Well, not knowing your runners at first base, Granderson runs well. Nice hitting by Young. The throw should have gone to second here. And Young hustling all the way. No chance to throw out the runner at third. Granderson runs too well.
They're going to give Young credit for a double.
I agree.
Do you?
I agree, because it was down the line.
Okay.
It probably would be.
But I think if Ozuna throws to second, do you think Young tries for second?
I think he was on his horse,
Okay.
yes. I do, yeah.
Infield in for Taylor Teagarden, second and third and 1 out. Chance for the Mets to add to their 1-0 lead. Teagarden has flied out and struck out. And he grounds one down to first. The runners will hold. And Jones makes the play for the second out.
Well, hit hard, but looking to go that way. But there's certain times, I've preached all the time about the uppercut swing, but when you need a sacrifice fly late in the game, that's when maybe you want to try to get a little lift. That was the right approach by Teagarden, just didn't get it in the air, hit it hard.
So Flamaki out at the mound. You got the number 8 hitter Tejada at the plate, first base open, and the Mets, of course, are not going to bat for Wheeler, who's working on a 2-hit shutout and has thrown only 77 pitches. So
you got Tejada.
You got to walk Tejada here.
You think?
I would think so. And they'll do just that.
Well, they're playing it very, very careful here, and you can't second guess this. But you could pitch to an 8th hitter here. But late in the game, here we are in the 7th. Can't second guess this.
Well, I'll say this: watching Wheeler, who is 1 for 22 this year, you always get the impression that he should be a better hitter than his numbers have been. This would be a really, really good time for him to show it.
Well, he can certainly help himself.
They are getting a left-hander quickly up in the bullpen. You don't suppose they're going to bring in a lefty to face Wheeler, do you? Mike Dunn is getting ready as quick as he can. And now he's slowed down a little bit to catch his breath.
I can't believe they got Young will hit, who was a better left-hand hitter than right-hand hitter. Then you got Murph. So this is just, if he gives up a base hit here or walks the pitcher, that's the end of him.
Right. Don't think I've ever seen a pitching change to, get the same side pitcher against a pitcher.
Agreed.
But I was just the rapidity with which Dunn was warming up. Thought maybe he was trying to get ready for Wheeler. So Zach with an opportunity here. Bases loaded, 2 out. Working with a 1-0 lead in the 7th. He's been up twice and grounded out to the right side both times. And he dribbles one foul.
It's going to be awful tough for Chris Young, to score on a base hit. The outfield is very shallow. If they hit a hard hit ball, the outfielder, he's not going to be able to score.
And you've got good arms in that outfield. Ozuna, Marisnick, and Stanton. Now let's see if Wheeler can pick up where Bartolo Colon left off yesterday.
How about Colon?
That was a magic moment. Slow ground ball. McGee will go to first with it, and that retires the side. So Morris is able to get himself out of a big jam in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in Miami. 1-0 Mets. Instagram your photo to hashtag SNY fan photo for a chance to be shown in our broadcast. And I told you, kids and dogs.
But you can't take it so hard. Okay,
oh.
It's a ground ball, the base is loaded, and then get the run in. Relax. It's only a game.
3 pitchers with the most wins in Marlins history. Ricky Nolasco, Dontrell Willis, Josh Johnson.
Boy, Dontrell Willis, huh? Jeez.
One of the other terrific Marlins starters of the past, Brad Penny, who was part of their 2003 championship team, just signed a minor league deal with Miami.
Yep.
Penny was let go by Kansas City in spring training and might well be back with the Marlins before too terribly long. Third time around the batting order for Zach Wheeler, who's worked to the minimum tonight. Rafael Furcal is 0 for 2, and you know he'll try that slug bunt sometimes.
Yeah,
it's a big part of his arsenal.
He's done that over the years, and David has to play on the infield cut of the grass there. Excellent bunter.
Slaps one to short. Tejada has to charge, and Furcal is out. 1 out and nobody on. Well, Zach Wheeler had been struggling last 2 starts, went a total of 8 2/3 innings and got roughed up in both those starts. But he's now gone 18 1/3 innings against the Marlins this year and allowed just 1 run. Now, Wheeler just finished a calendar year in the big leagues, and this is what he has done. And we compared him to some of the other, well, some of the pitchers who have emerged as stars in the major leagues. This goes to show not everybody starts their career like a Matt Harvey or a Jose Fernandez. Marisnick is struck out and grounded out. He tries to bunt his way on. And he's quickly in an 0-2 hole.
Well,
Wheeler's got the same ERA through 31 starts as Verlander and Greinke.
And not far off from Felix.
Well, ahead of Felix. And better than Kershaw. How about that? So, this is how pitchers develop. You ride with them through the bumps early in their career, and you hope they smooth those out and become the consistent winners you want them to be. Marisnick takes strike 3 called. Good looking fastball by Wheeler to get him. That's 6 tonight for Zach.
Oh, plenty of plate. Fastball down and in. Locked him up, as we say.
Well, Wheeler has handled Giancarlo Stanton so far tonight. 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts.
It would have been nice to get that runner in, because then Stanton couldn't tie this ball game up. And by the way, Stanton has a ton of home runs that have tied or put his ball club in the lead this year. I had it written down, and I will find it, folks, and I will relay that to you. I believe it's 11, and I would be correct.
Well, here are his first 2 at-bats. That's how the first one ended.
Bad slider. Sinker. Oh, changeup. Got him.
One of the few changeups Wheeler's thrown tonight. He threw that one on a 3-2 pitch. 1-1 coming. Challenges him with a fastball, and he fouls it off.
So that's over half of his home runs. He's got 20 that leads the National League. 11 that have either put his ball club ahead or tied the game. And we'll see what Teagarden wants to feature here. Well, I can't help you. Oh, fastball away. Slider is what he wants.
1-2 to Stanton.
Oh, he got a hanger.
Looper, shallow right. In comes Granderson, side retired. Wheeler has faced 21 batters in 7 innings. Minimum. He's got a 1-0 lead after 7. Through 7 innings. He's never gone beyond 7 innings in his major league career. Looks like he'll have a chance to do that tonight, working with a 1-0 lead and having faced the minimum 21 batters in 7 innings. Eric Young leads off against Brian Morris in the 8th, and EY takes a fastball for a strike. Young tonight 1 for 3, an infield single in the 1st, was out on a very close play in the 6th. Morris worked out of a bases loaded jam in the 7th to keep this a 1-0 game. Mike Dunn getting ready for Murphy on deck. It's a good cutter by Morris, and it's 0-2.
I was looking at the Mets schedule when I was. You guys, you weren't in St. Louis. You and I were off.
Indeed.
They don't
allow either one of us in St. Louis, apparently.
Mets have a lot of 4-game series scheduled this year, and they got more than a few wraparound 4-game series that end on Monday.
They've got a 2-game series coming up when they get home against Oakland.
Yes, and they go play only 2 in Oakland.
Well, they get 2 at home against Oakland, then they go on the road and play 4 in Pittsburgh, just to your point.
Okay.
1-2 from Morris. That's inside, 2-2. Well, the Mets have already played a 1-0 game here in Miami this year. That was the last game that Wheeler started against the Marlins. He and Tom Kohler matched up in a doozy that the Marlins won in the bottom of the 9th. The Mets had not scored a run here in 23 innings before Wright hit the home run.
That's right. Henderson Alvarez threw the shutout, right?
Back-to-back shutouts to finish that series. So the Mets have scored 1 run in their last 30 innings in this ballpark.
That was Henderson has, I believe, Alvarez has 3 shutouts. His 3 complete games and their 3 shutouts.
Mets will face him tomorrow night. Those are his only 3 wins. Full count to Young.
How can you be 3-3 with a 2.56?
Yes, John Neese.
Exactly. But this is a team that has that scores runs.
Right, scored a lot more runs.
They're third in the National League in runs scored.
3-2 coming to EY, and he walked him. So Young is on base to start the 8th inning. Second walk given up by Morris. We'll check in with the studio with Kareth Burke for another game break, brought to you by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. That's bad news for the Braves. Floyd's elbow was a problem again. Boy, they've had their share of Tommy Johns this year, haven't they?
They sure have.
Murphy is 2 for 3 tonight. Perfect spot for Young to consider stealing a base. 17 of 18 this year. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, there was so much talk before the game about what Eric Young Jr. can bring to the team when he's on base. And certainly, you know, he can steal a base. He can create runs that way. But what EY Jr. said is that he creates chaos on the base path for the pitcher. And what the pitcher does when he's on base is he's forced to throw over a couple of times, maybe speed up his delivery a little bit. Basically, it just splits the focus of Eric Young, of the pitcher, and therefore allows the batter to get better pitches to hit. That's what EY thinks he brings to the table.
Well, I don't know what the stolen bases are, but I don't think that there's any team that comes close to that. It was 80s Cardinal team as far as putting pressure on pitchers and stolen bases. And for a matter of fact, the 86 Met team, we had speed at the top with Lenny and Mookie.
Well, the 70s and 80s were a huge time for stolen bases.
Yes.
I mean, you had guys like Ricky Henderson and Tim Raines and Ron LaFleur. I mean, you got Eric Davis stealing 70, 80 bases a year. And the game just isn't played that way anymore.
No, it's just not. The pitchers have less to worry about. I mean, Cardinals just put you on this, you were on tenterhooks.
There goes Young. Murphy pops it up. Young's going to have to hustle back.
It's not going to get there.
Marisnik makes the catch, loads up for the throw, and doubles him off first base. 2 out. Now, ball not hit very high in the air. It took Eric Young a while to figure it out. And by the time he retouched second, he didn't have enough time to beat Marisnick's throw.
I think he probably lost it. It was probably a straight steal. Strong arm from Marisnick. And he got him.
So the Mets get a leadoff base runner. He's erased on the double play. Each team has now turned 3 double plays tonight, keeping this a 1-0 game. And the man responsible for the only run steps in with 2 out and nobody on. David Homeward back in the first inning. That's been all the scoring tonight. And he takes the cutter off the plate for Morris, 1-0. Wright's home run hit the bottom of the home run sculpture in left center, right off one of the fish. Hope the fish is okay.
Well, here's the home run, number 6 for David. Fastball down and inner half. And any ball you hit in this ballpark out, you earned it. The Flamingos are still chattering about that bomb.
I've never heard a flamingo chatter. Well, that is one of the distinct features of this ballpark, the Red Grooms designed home run sculpture.
It is colorful. It is tropical.
It's very much in keeping with the Miami theme. And David has leaned back, 3-1.
So you're getting an idea of Morris here. He's all over the place. Even though he's been he's been spotless so far. He's got out of a jam in the first. But sooner or later it catches up to you. He lacks command.
Hasn't given up a run yet as a Marlin after a troubled couple of months with the Pirates. Full count to right. Eric Campbell would be next. Two out and nobody on. 3-2 coming from Morris to right. David had a good swing at that fastball. Well, with Wheeler having faced the minimum through 7, it means if the Mets play their cards right the next 2 innings, they might not have to face Stanton again. Yesterday in St. Louis, Bartolo Colon was taken out after 8, having thrown only 86 pitches. Wheeler's at 86 pitches through 7. Be interesting to see how far he goes. Again, the 3-2, and it's outside, ball 4. Borderline pitch, but right's aboard. Third walk given up by Morris. Well, Mike Redmond has had Mike Dunn up in the bullpen for the better part of 2 innings. And if Campbell gets on, I'm sure we'll see Dunn to pitch to Granderson.
He's only got one left-hander in that bullpen, so you Met fans have seen Terry Collins have to manage with only one left-hander a couple of years ago, more than a few years. It's very difficult on a manager when you only have one lefty out there.
Campbell's 0 for 3 tonight.
Ooh. Hanging slider.
Granderson would be next. Mets have 6 hits tonight. Marlins have but 2. And Campbell shatters his bat and almost shatters a teammate.
He's got tied up inside there. And Eric has really came up when he got called up in a groove. He was hitting well, and now the spot playing, it's kind of made it tough on him. He's been a little tardy of late. And it's not an easy job with sporadic play.
By the way, happy 26th birthday to that guy, Jacob deGrom.
Oh, I ran into him with his lovely fiance at the pool today.
Jacob's next start will be Saturday. His first is a 26-year-old. New bat in hand. Campbell will weigh back in with an 0-2 count. Right at first and 2 out. Chris Johnson just drove in a run for the Braves in the 8th. They're up 3-0 on the Nats now. Atlanta can pull within a half game of the lead if they win tonight.
Well, Wisely throwing over 0-2. Good chance, David, to take a steal.
Tomorrow night, game 2 of this series. Daisuke Matsuzaka against Henderson Alvarez. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock. Mets and Marlins here on SNY. Not running, and Campbell takes it low. 1-2. They're doing the wave.
That was. Can't compete with that wave in the 80s at Shea Stadium.
Well, it's kind of an incomplete wave, if you know what I mean. Just a salt spray. Right runs, and Campbell fouls off the cutter.
Well, evidently the Mets flew in from St. Louis after that day game. Got into the hotel around, what, 9:30? Decent hour. They've had their share of getting in the ballpark, getting into towns late at night, early morning.
Well, right now they're just trying for a second straight win, which would be a real boon right now. But locked in another tight one. Strike 3 call. Campbell goes down looking. And Morris works around trouble for a second straight inning. That sends Wheeler back to the 9 for the bottom of the 8th, leading 1-0. A 1-0 lead. And for the first time in his career, Zach Wheeler is going to try to go beyond 7 innings. 85 pitches, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 3 base runners. They've all been erased on double plays, so Wheeler's faced the minimum 21 batters in 7 innings.
Well, this is what we talked about. Very tough out here. McGee Only guy he hasn't gotten out.
Singled and walked tonight. The only other base runner, a single by Saltalamacchia in the 6th. All 3 base runners for the Marlins tonight have come leading off innings, but all 3 have subsequently been erased.
This has been a very efficient Zach Wheeler. This is what he needs to do to be successful.
And again, he's behind on McGee, 2-0. He walked him on 4 pitches his last time up, after McGee attacked the first pitch and singled to center field, leading off the second. Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna to follow for the Marlins in the 8th. Two-0 coming to McGee, and it's well outside, and Wheeler again finds McGee a difficult obstacle. Jerry's Familia, Josh Edgin up in the Mets bullpen.
Both covered both bases there.
That is Kevin Gregg, who was just called up by the Marlins, former Marlin, back. There's finally a strike to McGee, 3-1. Kevin Gregg, their closer back in 07 and 08, now back for another go-round. Garrett Jones waits on deck. Wheeler behind on McGee, 3-1 leading off the inning. And McGee takes a slider for a strike, 3-2.
A little cutter right down the pipe. He took it.
Big batter here for Wheeler, trying to get his inning off to a good start. 3-2 coming.
Good pitch.
Strike 3 call. 7 strikeouts for Zach Wheeler, and that's a big one. First time he's retired McGee tonight. And McGee lingers to discuss it with Ed Hickox.
Strike. I'm sorry, very sorry.
Boy, Hickox has given him a lot of rope. That's a long time that he was allowed to stand there and jaw.
Well, if you don't swear, you can argue it's a strike. Oh, well, even though Teagarden brought it back a little bit.
So this is now officially the longest outing of Zach Wheeler's career, much to the dismay of Casey McGee. Garrett Jones takes the pitch low, and the Mets infield defense was moving as that pitch was thrown. They were moving into their shift, but Wheeler threw the pitch when they were still moving. Now they're set.
Well, someone fell asleep.
1-1 to Jones, who's lined into a double play and taking a call third strike.
That's a big out right here. All 9 of his home runs, Jones's home runs, have been off right-handers. He's a guy that likes to ball down. He's a cripple hitter. He's got power. It's a big out in a 1-run ball game.
1-1 from Zach, and he leaves it outside. 2-1. Marcell Ozuna, another home run threat looming on deck. Mets have had chances to add to their lead, haven't been able to convert, so Wheeler left with just that one skinny run. Off the plate, 3-1.
Very impressed with Wheeler tonight. Terrific command. We'll love to see him finish this inning.
Terry Collins left to ponder how long to stay with him.
He's not tired. He's still throwing hard.
3-1 coming. And Jones lifts it to center. Back goes Chris Young. Has plenty of room. 2 out.
Took off a little change up there. Pretty gutty pitch, 3-1. That's his 3rd pitch. Sinking. Got him out in front. Very nice. Gutsy pitch.
He threw that pitch to strike out Stanton earlier in the game.
It wasn't a strike to Stanton. That was a pitch that if you get it over the middle of the plate, you're going to get hurt. Keep it away. Beautiful pitch.
That's trying to keep Stanton right there. Wheeler has still faced the minimum. 2 out and nobody on in the 8th. And now Ozuna, who's twice as grounded to short, once into a double play. Popped it up. Should be Young's ball in center. He finds it. Side retired. Zach Wheeler goes 8 innings for the first time in his career. He's held the Marlins to no runs and 2 hits. On to the 9th. 1-0 New York. 1-0 lead as we go to the ninth. You look at the Chrysler Mets box score. David Wright's home run in the first inning off Andrew Heaney, the only run of the game. And the Mets will look for some insurance with Curtis Granderson leading off in the ninth against Kevin Gregg, making his return to the Marlins at age 35, almost 36.
Well, he was a former closer for the Marlins.
Look at that. Nobody's sitting near Zach Wheeler, almost like he was throwing a no-hitter.
Well,
he's working on a shutout.
Never liked to bother the pitcher when they were starting.
Granderson lifts one in foul ground. That'll go out of play. 1-2.
Gregg came up originally with the Angels. Went over to the Marlins, the Cubs, the Blue Jays, Baltimore, back to the Marlins.
Henry Mejia getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Now, we go back to yesterday. Bartolo Colon was pulled after 86 pitches, working with a 2-run lead. And Mejia started the ninth but did not finish it. Dana Evelyn finished for the save, his first in 8 years. And now you've got Wheeler at 97 pitches through 8 innings. Never thrown a complete game in the majors. Never even gone 8 innings before with a 1-0 lead. And it certainly appears as though he's going to start the inning. Granderson hits one well to center, chasing Marisnick back, but he's got room on the warning track to run it down some 410 feet away.
Gee, that is the deepest part of the park. That would earn the name of Death Valley out there.
So one long out to start the top of the ninth, and now Chris Young, who doubled to left field his last time up, his first extra base hit in ages. 1 for 3 on the night. Well, because Wheeler has been so efficient and has faced the minimum, it means he gets the lower third of the order in the bottom of the ninth. That's Saltalamacchia, Echeverria, and the pitcher spot, and no left-handed bats left on the bench for Mike Redmond. He used his only one, Justin Bohr, to pinch hit in the 6th. Dan Worthen thinking about how much rope Wheeler gets in the ninth. 1-2 now to Young.
Well, there's Gregg's patent split finger fastball that he's been his signature pitch throughout his long career. 177 saves, 563 relief appearances.
Young pops one up, and Garrett Jones in foul ground. There to grab it, 2 out. So now Taylor Teagarden with 2 out and nobody on. Teagarden has flied to center, struck out, and grounded out. 0 for 3. How do you think the Mets will handle Wheeler in the bottom of the ninth?
I think that I'm going by the man who makes the decision down there in that dugout, and that's Terry Collins. And I think he wants him to go the 9. I've been sensing, I've been observing a little bit of pushing of these starters to go deeper in ball games. Now, deeper means going 7 in today's game, not 6 2/3, 6 1/3, or 6. But Terry's been pushing them a little bit to go 7, and I agree. I think a lot has to do with that big series in Philadelphia where the bullpen really got taxed. Now, that's a long time ago, but it's still a lot of season left.
Well, the Mets are 4-11 since that series in Philadelphia, and obviously this is a game that Terry wants to win very badly. So here's a Mets pitching staff that's been good this year, but has not had a complete game. Nobody on the staff has had one this season. Teagarden down on strikes, and now we'll see what Terry has in mind for the bottom of the ninth. Wheeler looks like he's heading back out to the mound, working on a 2-hit shutout. And for the Braves, who lead the Nats 3-0 in the 8th. Phillies behind Buchanan lead the Cardinals 2-0. That game is now in the 5th inning. And the Royals' 10-game winning streak comes to an end. Anibal Sanchez 7 strong innings as he outdueled Danny Duffy, and the Tigers finally beat the Royals 2-1. Mets have not had a complete game since August of last year when John Neese threw a complete game against the Phillies. Zach Wheeler takes the mound for the 9th for the first time in his career. Jared Saltalamacchia, who has one of the 2 hits for the Marlins, leads off in the last of the 9th. And he fouls one down the left field side.
And the Mets putting on a big shift on Saltalamacchia, even though he got a base hit to left center field. His last at bat.
Saltalamacchia hit it right over the head of right where David's playing now, over at the shortstop's spot. Threw the fastball by him, down and in, 0-2.
Oh, I tell you. This, I can't say vintage is not the right word because Wheeler hasn't been around long enough. But this is what it can be.
He's setting a new standard for his vintage, but working with no margin for error. 0-2. Check swing. It gets away. Strike 3. Teagarden recovers. 1 out. Strikeout number 8 for Zach Wheeler.
Well, I don't think he swung here. I'll take a closer look. He did not swing. And it's moot, though, because let's put the home umpire. They're going to get all over home plate umpire Ed Hickok.
Well, Casey McGee was upset with Hickox about the call third strike call in the 8th, and now Saltalamacchia upset about the check swing here in the 9th.
It's crucial. It gets rid of the big power hitter. Echeverria without a home run this year.
Echeverria has grounded out twice, once into a double play. Reed Johnson is out on deck to pinch hit. 1 out, last of the 9th. And Echeverria takes a fastball for a strike.
And the ball might have been inside here.
There's Johnson, who has been a Met killer, waiting on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher. Wheeler has faced 25 batters. He's faced the minimum for 8 1/3.
There's no reason why these young kids, young men, and I'm speaking of Wheeler, going 9 innings. I know they're not conditioned to, but I am so hopeful that it gets back to the starter in a close game. Let him win or lose it. Don't have someone come in and lose it for him.
1-on-1 to Echeverria. Popped it up. In comes Campbell. 2 out. So the Marlins are down to their final out, and Reed Johnson will be the pinch hitter.
Well, Reed Johnson has always been a thorn in the Mets side, but he's not a power hitter. And what a performance by Zach Wheeler. 1 out away from a complete game shutout. A 2-hit shutout.
And Johnson takes a curveball for a strike, 0-1. If Johnson can keep it going, Rafael Furcal would be next. Mets 1, Marlins 0. 2 out, last of the 9th. Oh, and 2. Wheeler's had it all working tonight. Now the Marlins are down to their final strike.
Fastball hitter and Reed pinch hitting. Let him off with a wicked curveball and a wicked slider. Yeah. Just keep it away.
On the heels of a couple of starts that Wheeler would have loved to have had back, he has pitched a gem tonight, and he's now right on the cusp. 0-2. lays off the breaking ball. 1-2. Three Marlins base runners, 2 hits and a walk, all erased on double plays. 1-2 to Reed Johnson. Foul ball. A year and a day since his major league debut. Zach Wheeler trying to put on the finishing touches. 1-2 to Johnson. Curveball hit down toward the hole. Base hit. So Reed Johnson keeps the Marlins alive with a 2-out pinch single. And the tying run is aboard.
Pretty good at bat right there from the veteran Reed Johnson. The backup curveball here. Just a good at bat.
Just the 3rd Marlins hit of the night. So Wheeler will have to load it up again. He'll get one more batter at least. Outfield for Call tonight is grounded out, line to left, and grounded out again. Call takes a fastball for a strike.
Really giving a left center field for Cal. Eric Young way down the left field line and shading a pole to center fielder and right fielder. I don't get this at all. But they got the charts. I don't. Sorry, Gary.
Off the corner with a breaking ball. 1-1. 110 pitches now for Wheeler.
I would just like to see David Wright close to that line. No doubles. Then you can get Eric Young and more in the gap.
1-1 coming. For Call, drive to the center. Young is there, and the ball game is over. Zach Wheeler throws a 3-hit shutout for his first major league complete game. He faces just one over the minimum and going the distance. And the Mets have a 1-0 victory on the strength of David Wright's first inning home run. 366 days since his major league debut. Zach Wheeler has his best start of his major league career.
And his 3rd win. They've been hard to come by for Zach. A 3rd win. Here we are, we're in late June. And you can see his reaction. He's very